Welcome back to Throw the Flag Football. Today's episode is going to be for the fantasy footballers. It's going to be a review of a rookie draft that I participated in a couple weeks ago. It is a rookie draft that's 2 rounds long, and then we also have a 10-round veteran draft later on in the summer. So to kind of give you a little bit of feel of that, it is a 1 quarterback, 12-team, point per reception performance scoring league. So what that means is that the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, for every time they catch the ball, they get a point. Also, they accumulate points by how many yards they rush for and their receiving yards. Quarterbacks will get a passing touchdowns worth 4 points. All other points across the board for touchdowns are 6 points. So the only difference with quarterbacks is when they throw a touchdown pass, it's only worth 4 points. Then we have a contract keeper league formula. So it is based off length of the contract in time. So you get 1 6-year contract, you get 2 4-year contracts, you get 2 3-year contracts, and 3 2-year contracts for a total of 8 contracts. So that 6-year contract's kind of like your franchise player, if you want to think of it that way. And so the 12 teams, they are owners that have been in this league for, most of the league or half the league's been in from the original startup, which was 16 years ago. So it's a pretty established league. The other owners have been around pretty much 4 or 5 years or longer. So we all know each other pretty well. And so it's a lot of fun. It is one of my most fun leagues. It's called the Justice League. The theme is based off of characters of villains from comic books and heroes in comic books. So the team names are based off that. And so that kind of gives you an idea. Rookies do not have to have contracts, so that kind of plays into the strategy. And the roster limit is 20, so we have 8 contracts. So now that you kind of have a feel for it, let's get right into the draft because I can know most of you are going to be interested in where the players went and why. So let's start with Dark Knight. He had the 1-1, and he selects Jamar Chase. First pick, really chalk. Probably the best player to take right here would have been the guy I would have took. And pretty much in most leagues, you'll see Chase or Najee Harris go 1-1, or they'll flip. So you could take either one, the 1-1 being Chase here, and then Harris being the 1-2, or you could have Harris 1-1 or 1-2. Dark Knight's team is kind of rebuilding, but it's kind of in the breakout mold or breakout part of the rebuild. And so this team is probably a playoff team, in my opinion. And getting Chase is going to be huge. Chase is a player that is going to get volume right away. He's got a relationship with Burrow that's solid. They played at LSU together. They made beautiful music together while they were at LSU. Fabulous combination, and it's going to be that way probably right from the very beginning. He also reminds me of a little bit of a younger Julio Jones type or Justin Jefferson. He kind of moves the same way as Jefferson, but has the athletic ability of a Julio. And so you kind of put that two together and kind of get the feel for him. He can beat you with his feet. He can get separation with his feet. He can bully you. He can power you. He's that kind of player. And I think he's a hungry player, and I think this was a great pick for Cincinnati, but I also think this is a really good pick here at the 1-1. And again, you couldn't go wrong, really. So Jamar Chase, 1-1. Dark Knight, by the way, is one of the original owners, so he knows what he's doing. Silver Surfer, another one of the original owners. He goes Najee Harris. Same thing, kind of chalky. Most leagues are going to either have Chase or Harris, 1-1, 1-2. So this is the pick that kind of fell to him. Fits his roster fine. The player goes, like him a lot. Did very well in the SEC. Can catch the ball. He's got good burst. He's solid. He can hurdle players. He's athletic. He's got everything you want in a running back. Pittsburgh loves to lean on their running backs. So it's a good landing spot. My only concern with Najee my only concerns with Najee, and one is really nitpicky, is that he kind of runs up a little bit, a little too straight for me. But beyond that, it's really seriously nitpicking. He's a great runner regardless, but I'm not into the running backs that kind of are straight up runners or too straight up, or the way they run is too tall or something of that nature. If you get what I mean, that's really nitpicking though. As far as where he landed, Pittsburgh didn't do much to fix their offensive line. That would be a concern. And then also if the wheels fell off of Big Ben completely and he just imploded, then Najee would be facing 9 or 10 guys in the box, and that could be a problem. I don't think that's going to happen, and I think this is a solid pick for years to come. I think he's the next really good Pittsburgh back, so take that for what it's worth. 1-3, proud Marine, Devil Dogs, been in the league 5 or 6 years, won it the league his first year in. Really good drafter, drafted Justin Jefferson last year, Deebo Samuel the year before that, his first round player, and he took him higher than what people were predicting these players to go. He took Jefferson pretty high, and at the time Jefferson wasn't looked at as being that high of a player, but he did. He takes Kyle Pitts here at 1-3, the unicorn tight end. He is a freak of nature. It's going to be a pass-a-thon in Atlanta, in my opinion, and so I think this is a really good pick. If he can be a top 5 pick right away, this is worth the pick right now today. He is that good of a player, really solid. I see him going 1-3, 1-4 in most drafts, but I like this pick right here, point per reception, and if Julio Jones goes away, this just gets even better. So you can't really fault this pick. He plays more like a wide receiver than a tight end, and if you can get an advantage at the tight end position on the other owners, and especially in this league where it's hard to get a really good tight end, you got to take the chance, and so it's a really solid pick here, another really chalky pick. Captain America takes the 1-4. This is our youngest player. He's 19 years old, but he's also the most aggressive trader. His theory or his philosophy, I think, is if you're not trading, you're not trying, and he wins with this philosophy. Every year he does the same thing. He accumulates a lot of rookie picks, makes trades that you scratch your head on a little bit. They seem to work for him, and he ends up winning. He wins a lot of games. He gets in the playoffs so far every year. He moves pretty far in the playoffs. He hasn't won a championship yet, but he's gotten close. He got very unlucky one year. He had the best team by far, and it kind of just fell apart at the very end. He actually ran into a team that just outscored him, had an explosive game. Probably shouldn't have ended that way. Long story short is he does this every year. So when you see his trades, you just like, huh? And then he ends up winning. He traded to get this pick. He traded Kenyon Drake, Antonio Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Jonnu Smith for the 1-4. A lot of players, but he's refreshing his contracts. Every time you release a player or trade a player, you refresh the contract. You can give that contract to other players. That's kind of what he does. He recycles his players and his contracts every year and does a fabulous job. He took Travis Etienne with the 1-4. This pick's interesting based off what Urban Meyer is going to do with him. I think Urban Meyer is going to use him in an H-back type role. I think you'll see him rush the ball some, but I think he'll be more of a threat in the passing game than he will be the running game. He's already working out at wide receiver in the rookie minicamp and OTAs. And so what I think you're going to see here is a floor of maybe 4 or 5 catches a game. And then I can also see 40 to 50 yards. That's his floor. So that's like 10 points at his floor if he gets that kind of volume. If he gets more volume in the targets for passing, remember you get a point per every reception. If he gets more targets, his volume can be even higher than that. That's only just gravy and icing on the cake from there. If he gets a touchdown, gravy and icing on the cake, that's it. Because if it works the way I think it's going to, he's going to get that volume. He's going to have that floor. The risk is if he doesn't, and that you have James Robinson there to vulture touchdowns. And if it's an even split, that's going to be hurtful for both of them. But I think really what you're going to see is both of them on the field at the same time. But Robinson will be getting the red zone goal line touches, along with you got a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. It's also going to be able to score with his legs and his feet. So it's kind of a boom busty type pick, but I'm kind of leaning more boom than bust. I think he definitely is the best player here at the 1-4 in my opinion. And so very solid pick by Captain America. Good trade to get there. Joker took Devontae Smith at the 1-5. I like Devontae Smith of what he can do as a player. He's fast, he's quick, he creates separation with speed. My question would be, can he get off jams? Will the defensive corners in the NFL be able to jam him? Will they be able to knock him off his route? Will Philly put him in motion to prevent that? What is Philly's offense going to be? I can't really get a good feel for Philly's offense. Jalen Hurts' development, what's he going to be? A lot of question marks. If it works, though, he's going to be an explosive wide receiver one. If it doesn't work, it could be a problem. Jalen Rager's there, Miles Sanders is there. There's some mouths to feed, but he should be the number one right off the top. And so, like the player, don't know if I would have took him here. Probably would have took Waddle if I was trying to pick between the two Alabama wide receivers. But you really can't argue with the player, and Waddle and him are very similar. But anyway, I would have went with Waddle. I just think that Miami might be a better landing spot. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure when Will Fuller goes away. So anyway, good pick. I'm sure he thought best player available, and that's what I think that he was doing. Joker's been in the league 4 or 5 years. He's also been a team that's been very patiently building. I think he's still getting there, but he's made the playoffs. I think he made the playoffs a couple years, and he's done pretty well, and has made some pretty good trades as of late to get his team really solid. So look forward to him making the playoffs this year. 1-6 is where the first quarterback comes off the board, Trevor Lawrence, which was a little bit surprising. Black hole, he's one of the original owners. His roster, though, is very solid across the board. So this might just be where it was the best player for depth for him. He made a trade right before the draft to get Lamar Jackson. I'm assuming he's going to contract him. He has Carson Wentz on the roster as well. Don't know if he'll be keeping him. More than likely, probably not. And then maybe just taking Trevor Lawrence because he doesn't have to have a contract. That can immediately be his number 2. And that way he's not having to use a pick later on in the veteran draft for a quarterback, at least not having to take one early. Assume that he will take one at some point. But as far as the quarterback goes, I do like Trevor Lawrence. He would be my QB1 in this league. So I would have took him if I was going to take a quarterback at 1-6. That's who I would have took. He is good with his legs, kind of underrated with his legs. Going to get you some rushing yards, short to immediate passing. I think he fits Urban Meyer's offense very well, and I think that they're going to give him plenty of chances to be successful. And the big thing is, you know that he's going to be the starter week 1. You can't say that about the other quarterbacks except for Zach Wilson. I think he'll be the starter as well. But no doubt about it, Trevor Lawrence is starting week 1. So solid pick here, and would have been my QB1. I just don't know what it would took him at 1-6. I might have tried to move back. Maybe he did. I don't know. But maybe he couldn't find a partner. But if you're going to take a quarterback, this is the guy to take at 1-6 if you're going to go that high. The next pick, Captain America. This is an original pick. Again, this is the 19-year-old. Takes Javonte Williams. Melvin Gordon immediately comes to my mind as a concern. He's going to end up splitting the carries with Melvin Gordon almost right away. And so when does he take over for Melvin Gordon? When does that actually happen? And I expect it to happen sooner than later. I could see him maybe by mid-season taking over, but then again, maybe not. And this is another one of those offenses that you just have a hard time figuring out. They have a defensive head coach. I don't even know if Denver knows what they're doing yet. So, and we'll wait and see. Are they going to get Aaron Rodgers? That would be a thing. If they get Aaron Rodgers, this becomes a slam dunk pick because I just think that everything goes well with Rodgers at the helm, and I think the running game obviously will benefit. Like think of Aaron Jones. He kind of plays a little like Aaron Jones. He will run you over. He will beast mode you. He can catch the ball. He's got good burst. He's got good elusiveness. He doesn't have long speed. He'll get caught from behind, but he will beast mode people. He will run you over. And he is always going forward, so you don't have to worry about negative yards. And so this kid's a good kid, a good player. There's a lot of questions with him, but probably the best player on the board at this point. And so now we're going to go to the 1-8. Shazam takes Jalen Waddle. And Shazam, I can't remember if he's an original owner. He's been here a lot longer than a lot of teams, though. So he may not be an original owner, but he's been maybe 10 years, maybe. So he's one of the older players in the league or established in the league. And he takes Jalen Waddle here, best player available. I like him more than I like Devontae Smith, as I talked about earlier. Same thing though. Speed, blazing speed. He's going to use his speed to get open. I think he does have enough speed to make corners respect him a little more than Smith, even though I think they both play very similar. I think that in Miami, though there's a lot of mouths to feed this year, Will Fuller's only on a 1-year contract. He could be gone next season. They got Gesicki, they got Parker, they got Williams. I think Williams is the odd man out here. Tua's development's going to also play a role. Can he feed all these players? And how much does Waddle get right away? Hard to say, but I still think this is the best player available at the 1.8, and I can't blame him for taking him here. I think he should have probably would have been flipped with Smith if it was me, or maybe the Trevor Lawrence pick here. I would have probably took Waddle instead of Lawrence, but like I said, these guys know what they're doing. They've been around a long time, and I'm sure they've got moves already planned ahead. And the next owner that we're going to talk about is the 1.9, and this was originally my pick. I ended up trading out. I moved back to the 1.12. I made a trade with Captain America. Makes another trade. Pretty much all the trades that were made in the rookie draft were made by him with multiple owners. Captain America trades the 1.12 and the 2.3 to move up to the 1.9. Takes Rashad Bateman. Not in love with this pick. Bateman's got talent. He's a bigger wide receiver. He's going to be a good red zone threat. Problem is where he landed in Baltimore. They're a running team. They got a running quarterback. You got Mark Andrews there. You got Marquise Brown there. Bateman comes in right away and is the number one receiver. I will give that to it, but I do not like Baltimore's philosophy. I don't think they're going to change their philosophy since they've been successful. And so, though I understand the pick, and you look at other drafts, and this is where Bateman's going. So, I could be very wrong here, but I just don't like the pick. I would not have done the Bateman pick, and I certainly wouldn't have moved up to get him, but I'm glad he did because I ended up to move back. So at any rate, that's what I got to say about Bateman. I myself would stay away from him, and I recommend that you stay away from him, but I'm sure there's going to be truthers out there. It is what it is. It's Baltimore. And then so the 1.10, another trade that happened here. This was a trade where Captain America trades the 1.10 to Dark Knight. And remember, Dark Knight had the first pick. He took Jamar Chase. The trade was he traded T. Higgins for the 1.10 because I assume that he didn't want to have Chase and Higgins playing at the same time or having two wide receivers on the same team. So he makes the move here to get another pick, to get another player. He takes Terrence Marshall, the wide receiver out of LSU. Big, fast, good hands, a little bit of an injury concern right before the draft. His medicals came in. He had some leg issues. I assume he'll be healed. That's not a huge concern for me unless we find out it's a Liz Frank or some other really freakish Achilles or something like that. Would it be a concern for me? But not a concern right now. I think he landed in a good spot. Sam Darnold's going to need weapons. Yes, they have DJ Moore. Yes, they have Robbie Anderson. They don't have a lot after that. He becomes a part of the offense right away. He kind of offers something different than the other guys do. I think that he'll be utilized. I think this is a great pick and a good landing spot. It's going to be kind of a question, though, with if you have concerns with his injury, you may not want to take him here. The only thing I have with this pick is that I don't know if I would have given up T. Higgins for Terrence Marshall. I mean, basically what it comes down to is you're trading Higgins for Marshall. And I don't know if I would have done that. I don't know what kind of, I think Higgins is still going to have a role in the Cincinnati offense. So can Marshall give you more points than Higgins? Not sure. My guess, again, is that he just didn't want to have two players that have similar role maybe in Cincinnati, or you think that they do. You're not going to start them both because if Cincinnati has a bad game, now you have two positions or two positions on that offense that you're getting bad scores with. That's the only thing I can think of. But if you're going to take a player, Marshall's not a bad guy to take here. The next pick at 111, love this pick. This is the pick by the Joker. It's the biggest boom bust pick though, but I still love it. I think it's ballsy. It's a nice move. Rondale Moore. Now, don't get me wrong. He's going in the top 12 of other drafts, but to me, I don't know if I have the guts to do this move. He's 5'7", and I don't know how much, but he's not a lot, and so he's small frame, but man, can he explode? Can he get open? And what I mean, his movement of how he gets open with his legs is just amazing. He can create space almost at will. And so he's going to be able to catch the ball. The problem is, where are you going to use a guy that small? How are you going to use him? Is he going to be in the slot? Where he landed to in Arizona, there's a lot of mouths to feed there. Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, Chase Edmonds is a pass catching back, Andy Isabella. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kyler Murray likes to run a lot. So, I mean, landing spot might not be the best, where other people think it's a great spot. I also thought Andy Isabella would play well in Arizona, and we all saw how that turned out, not very well. So as long as he doesn't get Andy Isabella, he should be okay. And if you want to see something, watch him against Ohio State his freshman year. He just tore Ohio State up. His freshman year, phenomenal. Injury history, though, too, with this as well. Been hurt a couple years now. If he can get fully healthy, and then I think he got plenty of time. He didn't play a lot the last couple years, so he had some time to heal. This kid could be the real deal if he can stay healthy, and probably the biggest boom or bust pick in this top 12. And we get to 112. This is my pick, and I take the second quarterback off the board. I go ahead and take Justin Fields here. Basically, I only have Deshaun Watson on my roster with no contract. So there's a concern at quarterback. There's a need at quarterback. So, I went this route also because he's the best player left on the board available. I also considered guys like Michael Carter, Trey Sermon. I just thought it was a little high for Trey Sermon. And, Trey Lance. These are all guys that were in the ballpark. But to me, Justin Fields, even in Chicago, it offers the biggest ceiling for me. And I think that his legs, he can run with the ball. He's going to get a lot of points with his legs. He ran a sub 4.4 40. He can throw the ball. He's accurate on his deep ball. His short and intermediate is fine. He can progress. He can go through progressions. I think Ohio State's offense really dictated a little bit of where people think that he can only be a one read. That's not the case. They have a kind of a mesh style option offense. And so if you don't know the offense, you don't know the player, in my opinion. Fields can go through progressions, and he showed it against Clemson. Smashed out 6 touchdowns in that game. Ridiculous game against Clemson. My concerns with him is where he landed a little bit. If Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace get fired next year, now Justin Fields has to deal with a whole new regime, a new offense, a new coach, new coordinator, and see what happens from there. I think they probably bought a couple years with this pick here in Chicago, and so just kind of wanted to go this route because I just thought he was the best player on the board. He fit a need as well. And then I moved back to the 2-3 where I ended up taking another quarterback, Trey Lance. That would be, a discussion for if I do another round of this conversation. But at any rate, it was fun to do this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I enjoyed giving it. One last concern with Justin Fields I'm going to say right here is I don't know when he's going to get on the field. I assume it's going to be sooner than later. So I want you to have a good night. And again, enjoyed giving the video. I hope you liked it. Have a good night.